honestly speaking, from the actual point of view of the viewers here, what is the definition of the manosphere, you would say, currently?
It's evolved so much. Like it wasn't even called the Manosphere when I started, actually.
What was it called?
I don't know. It was like
Forums?
it was more like, it was the forum days. So I started really moderating a forum called So Suave back in the mid 2000s, like right around 2004-ish. I laugh when people go, well, Rollo didn't invent the red pill or anything like that. Like, people don't understand, like, the term red pill has been around since they were watching Fairly Odd Parents and, Jimmy Neutron, right? I mean, I went to the SOSWAP forums, and I actually looked up my earliest post where I used the term red pill, and it was December of 2004.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, so it's been around a lot longer than most people really want to accept, right? Because I think people think that the red pill or the manosphere begins and ends with, like, Andrew Tate, you guys, and Pearl. I think that's all they know, and it's only been around for, like, 4 years as far as they're concerned.
I think we made it more mainstream, so to speak.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely brought it to light, for sure. And I've said this on the show when we had Mike on with us. There's that one clip of me and you guys. I think it was in the very earliest days. I think it was March of 2021, and I think it was like the second or third time I've been on the show. And
you said it.
I had more subs than you did at that time.
It's true.
It didn't last long, but I did. You guys asked me. You said, "Is the Manosphere's a red pill going to go mainstream?" And my words were, "I hope not."
I hope not.
I didn't say they wouldn't. I just said I hope not, because what I see happening, what I predicted was going to happen then, and really what's happening right now, is that it's sort of been appropriated by people who have no real business being in this space to begin with. So, like, I was watching whatever podcast about a day ago, and Andrew Wilson was on there, and he was debating this guy. I have no idea who the guy was. I have never seen the guy in my life, but his whole Christian duty in life was to, like, lead people away from the red pill. And I'm like, does this guy even know what the red pill is? No, I didn't even know if that, like, for me, I'm at the point right now where I'm not offended by people who want to fight the red pill or turn it into a straw man so they can knock it down, because I'm at the point where all I want to do is I want to know what their background is. Do you even know what you're talking about? Because most of the time they don't. They think that the red pill, like I said, begins and ends with Andrew Tate and Pearl and that kind of stuff. And they have no real background or real history in the red pill or the manosphere or we call it male self-improvement space. Yep. We call it, like, right now, the red pill could be political, it could be social, it could be religious. And that's exactly what I was saying in March of 2021, because the same thing had happened in the previous election cycle. I saw all these people coming into the space, and they would use the red pill, #redpill,
yep,
as their own little personal brand to represent whatever their pet ideology happened to be. And I don't think a lot of people realize this, but, like, if you go back and you look at, like, Candace Owens's Twitter handle back in the day, it used to be Red Pill Black. Before it was Candace Owens, yes. Because they would take the red pill and apply it to the alt-right, or they would apply it to conservative politics, or they would apply it to whatever social, sort of impetus that they happen to be behind. Because to them, the red pill was just like, well, you used to believe one thing, and now you believe something else, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, that's not where it came from. And I know, because I was back in the day in 2004 when we started using the term, the red pill from the Matrix. We used to use the term Matrix and stuff like that because it was just an allegory that was applicable at that time. Mm-hmm. And I remember back in 2010, 2012, people would they would hate us because they would think that the red pill and the Matrix was cringe.
Yeah.
Like, oh, who's using that? Blue pill, red pill? What is this? The Matrix? And people thought it like they would shit all over it because they thought it was corny back then. Now, nobody thinks it's corny. Now it's like the red pill is whatever it is to,
everybody.
Yeah, to everybody. So right now it's like it's almost me. I don't know what else to call what you and I do and what Myron does and what, like some of the other guys that I know from, like Rich Cooper and Ryan Stone and the rest of these guys who have been in the space for a long time. It's like we don't know what else to call it. There's no other real definition that really sort of serves a purpose. So we just call it whatever, red pill, and that's it.
I see it as a place where a man can go to for help and some guidance, and also learn from themselves how to become a better man. But I think people have taken it for granted and said, you know what, I can use this, I want to say, these people or this genre to boost my own audience and kind of just gain favor. But it never really a part of it. Just came to like take.
They turned it into a personal brand.
Yeah.
That's why. And it's not that I'm not my own personal brand. I am. But in its purest form, the red pill is a praxeology, meaning that it is the science or the study of human behavior in that it has a purpose. There's a function. There's a latent purpose for why we do what we do. And I apply that in the red pill. I apply that as the praxeology of intersexual dynamics. So if people ask me for like the elevator pitch or like, well, what is the red pill in 5 minutes, right? I'll just say it's the praxeology of intersexual dynamics, and that's a mouthful for them. Like they want a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with all of this is it's not a bumper sticker. It's like a college major is what it is. Because you think about all of the, I mean, shit, you just watch Access Vegas, and me and Mike we were doing it here on the show, even like Mike and I, and we have to catch ourselves doing this. We will bounce ideas off of each other all the time. That's why we work so great, is he's into the same kind of like, he reads the same stuff that I do. And we don't agree on everything, but like we challenge each other so we can come to a better consensus about stuff. But when we do that on the show, on Access Vegas, that doesn't make for the best show.
Yeah.
It's good if like I'm sitting across from him and we're having this sort of meeting of the minds, but that's going to attract a different audience than it is for, oh, we're going to sit around, the girls look bored and they're on their phones and everything else, right?
Yeah.
So then you have to re-engage the girls, and so you got to make it something topical, and then but like if it just left to our own devices, me and Mike would just be talking about like if you think about all the things that are involved in the red pill as far as intersexual dynamics is concerned. There's anthropology, sociology, evolutionary psychology, evolutionary biology, political science. There's so many like sub areas or sub genres or and I'm not an expert in like 90% of these things, right? I have to be endocrinology, neurology. I got to know how the brain works. I got to know how your hormones work, because if I don't, there's some smart son of a bitch that's in the forum somewhere. Well, he didn't know that progesterone interacts with estradiol, and like, yeah, because I'm not an endocrinologist, but like, can you at least follow my logic? And I will get. I think there's what we're asking me about, like the manosphere and the red pill, where I think it's going. There's a growing set of influencers or brand, personal brand guys that have made it sort of their personal branding to find some way to sort of bring down the red pill.
Yeah.
Right. And so
monetary gain.
Whether they have any like prior knowledge is sort of irrelevant, right? Because they know that they're going to have a preset audience for them that's already waiting to like, yeah, fuck those guys, tell me why we should hate them.
Yeah.
And 90% of the time it's guys who will take something outrageous they heard, or maybe it's something they saw in the chat, right? They'll say it'll be like all bitches should be flown to the moon, or some shit like that. All women need to be, put into hijabs or something outrageous, right? And then they'll go on. Then some random dude will go on whatever podcast or somewhere else, and they'll go, "You guys always say that women should be flown to the moon," and I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from? And it's some random comment or some clip that they heard on TikTok or a YouTube short, and they'll go, yeah, that's those red pill guys.
They're alphas. They will say we're
those alpha male podcasts.
Yeah.
That's what they're.
Who says that?
This is an alpha male. Welcome to the alpha male podcast.
I don't know. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know one person that has said, "I'm an alpha male. Look at me." Who does that? Nobody.
Yeah, I've never, outside of being facetious with myself or being self-deprecating, have ever called myself like an alpha, right? I've jokingly referred to myself as a lesser alpha, but people don't know where that joke came from because it was so long ago. There's a blogger named Royce who used to have this. He used to have this personality test. Personality test.
Heartiste.
And Heartiste. Yeah, well, it became Heartiste later on, and he used to have this kind of semi-joking questionnaire. And if you answer the questions right, you were either like a lesser beta, a greater beta, somewhere in between. And I took it one time just for shits and giggles, and I came out as a lesser alpha. So I started calling myself a lesser alpha. They go, he called himself a lesser alpha. He's not alpha. He doesn't look like me. He doesn't smell like me. He doesn't dress like me. And it's whatever. Whenever you talk about alpha, like
it triggers people.
People like if you say this guy's beta, no problem. Nobody has a clue. Everybody knows what beta looks like. Everybody knows that guy's a loser. Yeah, he's real beta. But you go and you say you're an alpha.
Oh, they want to beat
and
you down.
You're not Orthodox Christian, or you're not Catholic, or you're not this or something like that, or you aren't, or your body fat percentage is at like 10%. Yeah. Or like if you don't have some sort of like hyper masculinized personality or characteristics or physical characteristics, then there'll be 10 or 12 other guys in the chat that'll just pile on too, because you don't look like them, you don't do what they say, you don't believe what they say, and you're never going to win. But I've always thought it was an interesting kind of social experiment to sort of look through some of the comments or look through some of the chats and stuff like that and see like what people will do when you give them data or you give them facts and you don't tell them how to feel about it. Because if you don't, they will infer what your meaning is, or they'll just simply hate you for it. Just how it works.
That's powerful.